Join the team.
Hey, theMCGuiReReview, and today we're going to take a look at some of my favorite products from Paizo. Now, if you know, Paizo makes the popular IP Pathfinder as well as an IP known as Starfinder. These are two RPGs that they publish and own, and they are both incredible. However, with all of their content that they produce, and if you are a person who loves tabletop gaming and RPGs, look no further than Paizo, because you will be provided with an overwhelming amount of content within both of these IPs, literally on a monthly basis. I'm actually not sure, Bear, how they actually keep up with all this. And they produce softback books, adventure books, hardcover, larger books. They do the battle cards, they do the NPC cards, they do all kinds of different products, but two of the things they do, they also make board games, which is incredible. Two of the things they do that I absolutely love and I think are some of their best offerings and products and have been for years are the pawn tokens as well as their awesome mats. Now, these are referred to as wet, dry, and permanent marker erase mats. So they are all-in battle maps. They're super high quality. We've covered these on the channel a number of times, but these are some newer ones here, as well as some of their newer pawn sets. And I wanted to just do a video to kind of hit that again, a little bit of a refresher. If you are looking for battle mats for any RPG, I would go as far as saying any miniatures game as well. I use these mats a lot for miniature games as well, because if you want a nice terrain to set out, obviously with miniature games you're measuring with a tape, a ruler for most of them. However, because these maps already have the 1-inch squares on them for the RPG setup, you can also, you know how far, left, right, straight forward, all that, right, is based on having that grid of those 1-inch squares. So that makes things a little bit easier too sometimes when you want to move a model like 6 inches straight forward or 7 inches straight forward or whatever, or you start all your models in from one side. So far, you can kind of count up your 1-inch squares and you kind of know where your line is, and then you can just kind of put your models out. You don't have to measure each time. So there's some benefit in doing that as well. These maps are also always double-sided. They're very high quality as far as the print that's on them, and these things can take a licking and they will keep on, ticking. They're incredibly durable. Thick maps, and you got this nice little paper sleeve here that I always keep. Some people toss this, but I always keep this as just like a little folio sleeve to hold the maps, keep them all separate. And then you got the nice artwork on the back that shows you the front and the back of that particular map. Okay, they're both like that. That's one for Pathfinder. You will find, obviously, for the Starfinder being more sci-fi and space-based, most of these maps are going to be the insides of various ships. You can get some planetary, like planet-type maps if you're out like on a specific area of a planet. Some of these maps are just like open space for like that aerial spaceship battle stuff. So, if you want maps for any RPG or any miniatures game, just get yourself a bunch of these Paizo maps from the Starfinder and the Pathfinder IP, and you'll be able to use these for literally anything, and they'll last forever. And just trust me, if you're looking for play maps and mats, it's just, they're low cost and they're high quality, and you can use them for anything, okay? That's your option. Let's get into these pawns now. I'll say this before I even show you this. There's some people that just are going to have absolutely no interest in this, because they want the aesthetic of the actual miniatures. And I don't know if you can't see everything here in this room, but I have thousands and thousands of little miniatures, right? I love the miniatures. I like painting them. I like the ones that are already pre-painted. I love having all those little sculpts. But at the end of the day, if you want to put a bunch of enemies out on the table, or maybe you want to travel and you want to keep, you don't want to have a big case carrying them all, these pawn sets are phenomenal. And on the other hand, you may want to just have a little bit more of that, I'll just say it, old school aesthetic, where you don't want the miniatures. Like, you may play an RPG or a game where you want that aesthetic, that you want these, you know, cardboard tokens. You don't want miniatures. That may be something that you're after. That may be the aesthetic that you like and you want for a particular game. And you're going to be able to get that at a very low cost going with these token boxes here, or these pawn boxes here. The one, and again, this is one of the newer ones. It's the green box, 2nd edition. This is the NPC core pawn box. So you're going to get a ton of NPCs. Bear's going to hit the back of this book, so you're going to see a side-by-side on exactly what I'm looking at. There's just a ton of them. I mean, in total, there's 270 quote-unquote miniatures in this box. You've got a number of small. Most of the pawns in this are of the medium size. We'll look at that here in a second. You've got a few large, and then you've got troops. And I love the addition of the troops. A lot of in some of these from the past we've covered on the channel, they've had the smalls, the mediums, the larges, and I've even seen some extra larges, some like much bigger ones that have been in the past. They haven't always done the troops, and I love the addition of the troop, because now you can have, and we'll look at it, a goblin squad, or a town's, you know, people's squad, or a militia of some type, or a bunch of knights, and there's like 6 or 7 of them, and it's about this big or so that's in the artwork. And if you take 3 or 4 of those and set them up, now you've got 20, 30 enemies standing in front of a squad, you know, of maybe 4 or 5 of your player miniatures or tokens. They have tokens to represent heroes as well. That you're up against, where to put 30 enemy miniatures out would be quite a bit. So that's where these, I think, really pay off, and where it's really cost effective. Now, the MSRP on this particular box is $64.99. Again, that's MSRP, so you are definitely going to be able to get it cheaper than that through a number of different outlets, and you are getting 270 tokens for that price. So I think it's still a very low-cost option to be able to have that many options all in this one box that you can travel with, or just take what you need, okay? So that is the NPC core box. We'll set that aside, and we're going to get into both of them. This one here is the 2nd edition green box monster core pawn box. So this one is even bulkier than the NPC. This one has a whopping 415 different pawns, okay? So not more than double, but quite a few more than even the NPC box has. This one is $74.99. Okay, so this one was $64.99. This is $74.99. All the monsters almost 400. An incredible value here on this one, I would say as well. You're going to get small and smaller, so quite a few there. Again, a bunch of medium. Here, you're going to get the large and a bunch of them, and here you're also going to get the huge. The huge are going to be around that, I believe. We'll get it out and we'll take a look, but they'll be bigger, and they'll be much larger stands to be able to put those on as well. So let's get into the NPC core box, and Bear will be hitting us with a side-by-side cam so we can see this. You are going to get a little bag of tokens. You're not going to get as many stands as there are, obviously, pawns, so you'll kind of, you know, you'll slot them as you need them and use them. In this one, you're going to get 2 different sizes. You're going to get that larger size, and then you're going to get this smaller size here. So this one will fit your smalls and your mediums, and this will fit your troops and your large. Okay? So, no problem there. And then these are going to be in sheets like this. Okay? You're going to get them all in your pawns. And you'll see the artwork here. As I'm looking at them, I'll pop out the old Goblin Boss King. Goblin Big Boss. Goblin. Okay? Artwork is great. From a review perspective, the artwork is fantastic. It's highly detailed. It's a great print. I love the artwork on these tokens. I think it's one of the things that makes them so good. Is sometimes when you start to use these, you may just prefer to use these when you run into NPCs and various different monsters, because the artwork is just so good. It just brings the token to life. Sometimes more than what an actual miniature can do, believe it or not. So that's something that I've experienced by using these in the past. And I do have a number of these popped out. I just like the Goblin King one, when I put it back, I stick it back in there and you'll see it will stay, because it has a little bit of a snug fit. So I pop them out and use them, and then when I put them back, I put them back like that. That way everything's nice and flat back in there. Okay. So I'm going to pop that out, and I'm going to show some examples. The other thing that you'll notice on the side-by-side is that the artwork is only for the front of the image. So when you flip it over, it's not like sometimes I've seen some acrylic pawns made like this, and then you have the front and the back art. This doesn't have that, so both sides is the same piece of artwork, which keeps the cost down. I mean, you got to think about how many of these you're getting, and every single one of these images being such a high quality artistic piece of artwork. Needing to do the back would be double the amount, so it would double the price. Or maybe not double the price, but it would add considerably to what's already there, right, for the cost of that much more art. So this is not this way. It's just what you see on the front is what you see on the back. I'm perfectly fine with that. Now, sometimes front or back facing is important, and to kind of handle that, there are little icons that are on the front, and you'll notice that the front, the little icon is on the bottom right side, and on the back, the little icon is on the bottom left side. So that's how you can kind of tell, like, front facing versus back facing for any of these characters. Okay, so I'll show kind of an example here of the Goblin boss. And one of the things also I notice is, and this isn't that big of a deal, but it matters. Like, sometimes when you get these pawns, you get these bases, they don't actually fit very good. They're too loose, they're too tight, and then you push them in and it just sort of like rips the paper or the cardboard. These are very thick, very high quality ones as well. Like, I can't bend that. Like, it's not a little cheap piece of like cardboard. Like, I've seen some companies make these that are they're just cheap little pieces of cardboard. Like, you can literally just go like this and just like bend them or snap them. I don't know if anybody's ever encountered that with some of these tokens, but that is not the case with Paizos. They are very high quality, very hard. They're very compact. How they do that is they actually compact the cardboard even more, which gives you a much stiffer, higher quality cardboard token. So that's one thing that I'll say from a review perspective. The other thing that I'll say is they do fit really well. You can just lightly push them in there, and I don't actually leave a little space there. I don't actually push the token all the way down into the stand. There's no need for that. I push it right down to the bottom of where like the name is, right? There's always like a little tiny little gap between the bottom and that is in there totally perfectly fine. See, I can shake that like as literally hard as I can. It's not going anywhere. It's totally in there, okay? And then if I need to take it out, boop, it comes out really, really easily, and it doesn't damage the actual token or the paper. Now, after you've used these a number of times, you might get very, very slight indentations on either side of the token, like on the paper where the little clasp is, but it does not damage the tokens. And I've always been impressed with the quality. That's really what I want to come through on this with this particular review, is that yes, they are paper token pawns, or they're paper, cardboard paper pawns. And most people would just say, okay, that's like the cheapest way to go for like playing an RPG and having that. I understand that, right? The more expensive high dollar way is to get the miniature. But I really want to make the point that if you're going to go with the pawns, or you like this aesthetic better, you can't find a better product on the market than what Paizo has here, from what I've seen. Okay, if you've seen something that's better, you can put it in the comments. This is, I'm not paid to do this stuff. I did receive this product from Paizo. I'm not paid to do this, so I can say anything I want and I can do anything I want with this product. But I really do think these are the highest quality pawns out there. Okay, so let's look at some of these other ones. Here's an example of one that's a little bit larger. I'll take my, I didn't have that one popped out. Take my, what is this? Equestrian Constable. Yeah, the Equestrian Constable. And I'll pop it in there. And again, I'll just go right down to that name. Perfect. I'll stop right there, and that's plenty tight enough. And then you'll see what that looks like, the size of one of those. Okay? Leave that out so I can pop that back in. And then I have some of the troops down here, which are really cool. Definitely going to have to use my goblin troops. Which one do I have popped? I'll just pop this one. The Goblin Get Gang. It's gotta be one of my favorites. And you get a number 1, 2, 3, 4 of those. I love the halfling bill band. That's hilarious, right? And then you now have something like that, and that's where what I mean with the whole like troops. Where if you want like an entire mob of like townspeople, I mean, you could use a number of these here to kind of make that up. You could have 40 or 50 enemies that's standing in front of your squad that you obviously would not probably want to go into combat with because you probably would die. But it could be one of those moments where it's like you're giving your party a chance to like back down, or maybe it's something that you want them to have to run away from. This is like a cool way and a cost-effective way to be able to do that. Okay, so those are the NPCs. Let's take a quick look at the Monster Core Pawn box because I want to show. You're going to get a number of different with this one. These are the ones for like the huge, much larger bases. These are going to be the bases for your larges. I will also say you can creatively, because they all have the same size on obviously the cardboard, regardless of how big they are. So you can use these larger models, and if you've got like some smalls, you could put two or three smalls into one larger base if you wanted to as well. Like I'll just 1, 2, 3. So you could take these and you could do something like this, right? Where you could put a couple of them, or maybe even 3 if you had this larger base. If you wanted like 2 or 3 smaller characters that are all kind of interacting at once, or maybe you're making your own little troop or squad of those characters as well. Okay, so that's kind of a little fun thing I've done. In the past, I've taken a number of these smalls and I've popped them on the larger bases to be able to do that too. So that's kind of cool. And then you'll get this larger bag of the ones that fit the medium and the small. Primarily what I want to do here is just show you the larger ones. I want to show some of these bigger ones here so you can see what they refer to as the huge models, where we have the tree. So you can see how much larger that is, and compared to like, something that they would refer to as large, right? The huge. So that's going to be a much larger model. Pretty cool. I mean, again, like if you had to buy the miniatures, it's going to be much more expensive. So that's it, team. That's really what I wanted to show for today. This is, again, the Paizo pawn boxes, and they do have a number of them. You can get the NPCs, the monsters, they got heroes, sometimes they do smaller version of these boxes, specifically with certain books they release. They've done that in the past. So I think they're really awesome. They're a really awesome product if this is what you're looking for and the aesthetic that you want for your RPG games. And with that, team, keep rolling them crits. This has been the McGuire Review, and we'll see you next time.